Good morning, I'm Annette Falconer. We continue to follow breaking news out of East Toledo this morning. Police are investigating a bomb threat called in this morning at Waite High School. Now, right now, a news conference is getting underway. We're going to take a look at that.
Yes, no, they did. They searched the students before they entered the school, in addition to clearing the school.
And just to confirm, we heard that there were reports of 2 initial calls being made to the police. Is that correct?
We had a couple of calls, yes. One at like 6:15 and one at 6:30, I believe.
Did the calls go to the police or to the school?
Went to police.
Do you have any idea who it may be or any?
No, we don't. The investigation is still pending.
And Dr. Duran, was there an alert sent out to parents concerning this?
No, what we do is we received a response from the police, and so our director had notified the schools as well as ourselves to start putting into our evacuation plan and put that into motion. So what you saw was, because it was such at the beginning of the school, that you had kids who were on their way, as well as there was a few in regard to staff that was there. So we had to make sure that we were prepared for our evacuation point, which is at Malakoff Stadium, which is literally right across the street. So we escorted those students over there. Then once we receive clarity, that's when we get notifications out. So as of right now, all kids are secure. We had started escorting them after they done a thorough search of the gymnasium, and then we brought the students into the gymnasium from Malakoff Stadium.
Could you just talk about how safety is tantamount, even though it seems like this is a non-credible threat? You know, you got to respond.
Well, one of our things in regard to our school district is the students and the staff's safety is our first priority, and we have an excellent relationship with the Toledo Police Department. One of the things is that one of the things of us being rated as one of the 9th safest school districts in the country was based on our relationship with the local police force, along with the sheriff, and then our response time when things happen. So literally, when they call, things start hitting and moving, where they were responding to the buildings immediately within minutes and such forth. At the same time, our own internal officers began to respond just as effectively as well. So it's always great to know that, you know, certain situations happen that aren't necessarily legit, but the reality is you always have to be prepared for the unexpected. And so our students and our staff responded excellently, along with the TPD who had came to the building. They have been great to work with in any of these type of scenarios. So again, I want to take my hat off to them, along with our own students and our own staff.
We've seen several of these situations, even just this week going on, where we've had, an alarm raised at a different high school and different community almost each day. Is this something that you think is tied together, is related, part of a trend?
This is going to be an ongoing investigation, but speaking with one of our investigators, there was a couple of other bomb threats in other areas around Northwest Ohio, and we're investigating to see whether or not they may be correlated or not.
And then what message do you have for the person or the people who did this? Because sometimes people think it's a harmless prank, but this is the result at the end of the day. So what do you want whoever did this to know?
This is not a prank. This is a serious threat, and we take these kind of threats seriously, and we will investigate and discover who made the calls, and they will be prosecuted.
What kind of penalties do people look at when they do cause a situation like this?
That would be up to a judge, but they would face jail time.
Talk about the resources this type of prank puts you guys under, because here you are, you have a lot of manpower that goes into this.
For the police department, it was a tremendous amount of manpower for our field operations units. We also had to draw in some additional people for the communications bureau, because we have to establish communications between the TPS security and us. We also had to bring in our K-9 officers, and then if we discovered a suspicious package, we'd have to bring in the bomb squad too. So it is a tremendous amount of manpower that's involved in something like this. So it is not a prank. It is a serious incident.
Yeah. In regard to the school district, you're talking about a relocation of our own officers who are already out in the field. And so obviously when you're looking at 6 learning communities, each one is somewhat working within their respected learning community, but to redirect them from their own responsibilities back to one location puts them, but it also provides a lot more support for the TPD in regard to what they need to do. At the same time, in regard to obviously our own internal staff within that building, in regard to the supervision and monitoring of students as they progress and work their way to the location during the time of standstill in regard to when we're waiting to enter the building, and at the same time bringing them back. And so obviously, you know, in regard to just the demeanor of keeping people calm really goes a long way. So the kids were great. You know, we have one of the greatest bodies of students, especially coming from the east side. I always have a true appreciation to being over here. But I think they all responded great, students, staff. They all came together as a team, as we always do. And more importantly, as a city, it's something to be Toledo proud, because we respond to these things as a team and not in isolation.
Speaking of people becoming alarmed, a lot of times with parents, the first instinct they're concerned is to rush to the school. So how did you communicate what was happening with the parents, and then in turn, what are some things that parents can do to help this situation as you go forward and do what you need to do to get it all cleared?
Right. One of the main things is we try to make sure that we stay in the scope of the TPD direction, is that we don't never put anything out before they've really had to secure the perimeters. And so anytime that you do that, you put not only our individuals and such forth, but you put TPD in a bad spot as well. And so once we have a good sense of where they had the perimeter secured, then that's when we begin to act in regard to putting messages out. So that way we're not inviting individuals into an unsecure location. And so with that, we also go in regard to sending out a mailing, our all-call systems, etc. And so we try to use a various amount of notice to allow parents. I think the main thing is that we always send in our handbooks, as we sent out in the beginning of the year, these are our evacuation procedures, these are our lockdown procedures, and these are the things that the staff go through routinely, as well as notifying the students.
Going forward, is Waite going to be under a microscope? Will there be more security, more scrutiny for the rest of the school year?
You know, in regard to what's in the immediate hours, obviously you'll have more of a presence than you would previously. But I think in regard to as we go, we're going to continue to move on as a normal day. So right now, the kids are right back on bell schedule. They've all kind of go where they go for the second hour, third hour, as well as allowing them to have breakfast prior before they go into that type of scheduling. But we are always in regard to on alert in regard to case that anything comes our way, and we're always having a direct line of communication with the TPD, just making sure that we have a good response time and a strong relationship.
How hard is it to get the kids back into that schedule? Obviously, this is a very excitable type situation, and then to bring them back into a more stable situation probably isn't the easiest transition.
One of the things that you find that I find all too well is children are very resilient. They bounce back and respond pretty fast compared to maybe adults and such forth. So it's always great because the kids just kind of jump right back into the swing of things. You may have a situation where that occurs in other scenarios that a child is directly impacted that may need a little bit more of attention, however. But for the most part, the students were, just happy to be here in school and ready to move forward in learning.
Do you find the students are more excitable or the parents?
I didn't hear you.
Do you find that the students are actually more excitable or are the parents more excitable?
When you say excitable?
As in difficult to deal with. I know parents are usually a lot worried about their kids, and it seemed that there was a lot of kids around with smiles on their faces. They seem to be having an okay amount of time. It's a different story for the parents.
I think the main thing is just that, you treat both with a good sense of balance. So you want to be compassionate about parents in regard to these are their children, and at the same time providing a support system for the students and making sure that they feel comfortable and excited just to be in school, and we want to make sure we control that morale. With that said, I think we're going to roll into one-on-ones. Okay.
Yep. Thanks very much.
Thank you.